Exercise 4-1. In this exercise, we're going to use a function called SUMIFS to calculate the total revenue that each salesperson has generated for the Pokfulam Garden Center for each month, going from January to December. So let's begin by calculating the revenue for salesperson with the last name of Adams for the month of January. Now, our data is actually on another worksheet, and that worksheet is called source data. So here's source data. It's on a separate worksheet. And since we need to calculate the revenue by salesperson and by month, and what we have here is the full date, we're going to add a column here under column E, and we're going to go ahead and extract the month number from the date. And for that, we're going to use this function called month, and then it simply takes one argument, the order date. Okay, so equal month A2, press enter, and it tells us that the month for this order date is 1, where 1 is January. And I'm going to just copy this to all the other rows so we can get the month out of the order date. Now, this is a pretty long column. It goes all the way to row 843. All right. Okay, so now that we've got the months, let's go back to exercise 4-1. And let's calculate the revenue for this salesperson for the month of January. So we go and type equal, and we need to use the function SUMIFS. We need to use SUMIFS with an S because we have multiple criteria. The first criteria is that we only want to calculate the sum for this salesperson with the last name of Adams. And the second criteria is only for the month of January. So for SUMIFS, the first criteria is the range that we want to sum, and that range is over here in this worksheet called source data. And the range we want to sum is C2 column C843, because that's how far column C goes. And the first criteria would be the salesperson, and the salesperson would be here. I'm just using my mouse to fill that in, and it goes all the way to 843. And for the criteria, we want it to be equal to Adams. Okay? And that's right here in B4. Now, the second criteria will be the month. So I go back to source data. The month is here, column E, because we just filled that in using the month function, all the way to 843. And criteria is going back here. I could actually put 1, but to make it more flexible, I'm going to put the cell reference A5, which also contains the value of 1. Okay, and I check my formula once again. So the range that we want to sum is here, C2 to C843 of source data. The first criteria range is B2 to B843 of source data, which we want to match to the salesperson whose last name is Adams. The second criteria range is E2 to E843 in source data worksheet, and we want it to match the month of 1, which is January. So I go ahead and press enter, and the answer is 20,517 and 38. Now I want to copy this to the other cells so that I don't have to type it all over again. So I need to be very careful with my absolute references. These are all absolute. These are absolute. No matter which row or column I copy to, they will refer to the same range. Now, when it comes to B4, B4 is refers to the salesperson name, and as you notice, it's always going to be in row 4. Okay, so I need to make this absolute. Now, the column could adjust. Column right now is B, but it could adjust if I copied it later on. Let's say to this column, it will be column C, D, E, F. So I don't need to make the column fixed, so I don't need to put the dollar sign here. Same thing with A5. A5 refers to the month. It's always going to be in column A, but the row number might adjust when I copy it later, so I'm just going to put a dollar sign here in front of the column. All right, and now that I've fixed all of my references, I should be ready to copy it to the other cells. And I can copy it this way, then I'll copy it this way. Okay, and I will do a sum here. I can also copy that all the way here. I'll do some over here for revenue for the month. Okay, and finally, grand total. And there we have the grand total. Now, we need to check if this answer is correct. And the easiest way to do that would be to calculate the sales for the month of January, February, March, and so on over here to double check that they are equal the sales that we have calculated here. So I'm going to use now SUMIF. Now I only need SUMIF because I only have one criteria, which is the month. So SUMIF takes three arguments. The first is the range we want to evaluate. That range will be this one, E, okay, because we want to evaluate the month. And again, I'm just going to type the rest of it in, 843. Okay, go back here. It will be equal to A5. And what I want to sum is the range containing the order amount. So C2 to C843. And I press enter. Okay, and so far the answers match. Now I'm going to copy this to the other rows, so I need to make sure my references will or will not adjust according to what's appropriate. Okay, there. So let me copy this to the rest of the cells. Okay, so far so good, and I'm going to add them all up and see if they match. Okay, and these two are the same, and we've confirmed that the answers are correct.